Welcome back guys, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video I will show you guys how I created this sunset scenery vector artwork in Adobe Illustrator. Please keep in mind guys, this is not a step-by-step tutorial for beginners. If you are looking for a step-by-step tutorial, please go into my channel and find these tutorials in here which is suitable for beginners. In this tutorial, I will show you guys the main steps to create this artwork in Illustrator. Alright, okay, let's get started. Alright guys, so I have divided this artwork into three main layers. Faraway objects with the sky and the mountains in the center and the frontmost mountain with the guy walking. Alright, and for the sky, I want to have it almost 3/4 of this artwork. So I'm going to start with the sky layer. Basically, I draw a rectangle and apply a gradient, and for this gradient I have applied colors based on an evening sky. You guys can have some reference images from a sunset image to get these colors, so I'm just applying these colors based on my experience. Alright, so I want these colors, but these are not the final colors. We will tweak with the blending modes and other layers to get the final results we need. Okay, next step, in the same layer group I draw the sun, just the ellipse, and for this I have applied a simple gradient, for now orange and red. And then I have created a new layer. In this I started from the faraway mountain. I just used the pen tool for this. After the mountain shape, I applied another rectangle on top of the mountain shape and apply a gradient with zero opacity on the top and the bottom part with a lighter tone. These will later react with the top layers to get the lighting and the glow we wanted in the final results. I repeated the same steps, draw some mountains on top, and same as earlier, I have drawn rectangle on top of these mountains and apply the gradient with zero opacity on top but some opacity with a lighter tone in the bottom, which will look a foggy effect, also which will react with the top layers later on to get the realistic look we wanted. Before we move on to the third layer, I have applied roughen filter to have some details to these mountains. The amount of roughness is based on the distance, so the closest mountain have bigger amount and the far away mountain has the smallest amount. And I have ignored the roughen filter for the furthest away mountain. Next, I move on to the third layer. In here, we are going to draw the closest object to the scene. Again, the same as earlier, I have drawn a mountain with pen tool and made a copy and apply the colors straight from the sun. So we will have the reflection layer and bring it behind. Based on the sun's angle, I have adjusted this layer using the direct selection tool. Finally, I have applied the roughen filter to the topmost mountain shape. And then I have drawn rectangle to fit into the artwork and mask out the unnecessary portions from the artwork. Now I have applied Gaussian blur to each of these mountains. Same as the roughen filter, furthest away will have biggest amount of blur and the closest part will have lesser blur, so that it will blend in with the scenery nicely. At this point, our base scenery is ready, so I have moved on to create the character in the artwork. For this, I have chosen the topmost layer and I have also created a new layer which is going to be the light adjustment layer for later. So before we move into that, I have used the pen tool to create the character, a very simple character, just a silhouette. And for this character, I have used the same colors from the mountain gradient. Then I place the character in an appropriate place and apply the gradient based on the lighting of the scene. And then made a copy, convert it to stroke and apply the shininess of the sun to the stroke. And finally, I applied a Gaussian blur. Before we move into the light adjustment, I made some minor changes to the scene. Alright, next step is light adjustment. For this, I use the topmost layer and place a rectangle on top. For this, I have applied a free form gradient. I started as free form points first, applied darker points to the edge and made the layer mode as a soft light layer and adjust the opacity. And based on the light source, I started applying more points and line points to the freeform gradient to get the correct colors in the scenery. I have applied yellowish tone closer to the sun and reddish tone little bit further away from the sun. Also consider the clouds and reflections as well. Next, I have added some clouds to the scene. For this, I have chosen the sky layer. Use the pen tool to draw the long clouds and apply Gaussian blur to them. And for the layers, I have applied the multiple blending modes to mix with the sky colors and also adjust the opacity as well. For the clouds, I have chosen a gradient color closer to the darker tone from the sky, almost closer to gray. And finally, I have applied an arc displacement filter to the top clouds. And then added few more layers, just objects using the pen tool, just basic shapes to add in little bit more details to the scenery. And for them, I have applied lighter tones. These are closer to the sun area. These are to represent the brightness from the sun. And I have applied blending mode screen for all of these layers. Also apply Gaussian blur to blend with the background scenery. Then I selected the gradient from the original sky gradient and draw a rectangle on top with the gradient selected and adjust the colors and blend in to fit into the scene. Once I satisfied, I have masked out the outer areas. Next, I draw the rays from the sun. For this, I have choose the topmost layer, the lighting layer, and draw a rectangle and apply a radial gradient. And for the gradient, I have choose the sun as a center point and draw outwards and apply a yellow color and also apply a blending mode screen. We can change the color later on. For now, I'm just adding yellowish tone. Later, we can adjust the color based on the scene and the blending. Afterwards, I draw these shapes, ray shapes like this on top and apply darker black tone for this and apply a opacity, different opacity for each of them. Also apply the Gaussian blur for each of them as well. Finally, I copy them and place inside the transparency of the gradient layer. Make sure the transparency area is in black, so you have to reverse this part in here. And finally, for the rays, I have made some touch up, changed some colors to yellow and some to remains the same to blend with the artwork nicely. At this point, artwork is almost done, so I want to add in some more final touch up to the artwork. For this, I have chosen the light layer on top, and for the freeform gradient, I have added more points, and towards the edges, I have added darker tones almost closer to black, and inside I have applied red and yellow tones based on the sun's position and reflection and the clouds. So thinking about all those things, I have added additional color points, hot spots, so that it will mix with the background and created this nice illusion like the rays are blending with the scenery and the sun. Finally, I have chosen each of these mountains in the center and made a copy and placed them behind. For them, I have applied same as earlier a glow layer, glow from the sun. For this, I have chosen the glowness from the sky and the sun and place them behind and make them little bit more blur. Look like rays from the sun make the glow on top of these mountains. And using the direct selection tool, I have adjusted the glowness based on the angle of the sun. Alright guys, that's all about it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys learned something from this tutorial, although it's not a step-by-step tutorial. What do you guys think about this format? If you guys like this format, please let me know in the comment section. I will make more videos similar to this format. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section. As much as possible, I will try to reply to those comments. See you guys in the next video.